Hello and welcome to EN 102 Business Writing for the first section of the fall semester of 2018 for Baker University. I'm your teacher, Isaac Bell. This is an image of me fairly recently smirking at something. You can imagine me smirking at many things, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be ruthless when I'm grading you, even though the first image in there is to edit ruthlessly. So, this course, if you have not used to online courses, will be conducted entirely online. I will try to have a introduction video not only to the readings to give you a view of it. I'm not going to go through the readings closely. That is for you to do. I'm going to try to give you some insight into key topics and ideas that I hope you are paying attention to. And then I will also go over some of the course requirements and that sort of thing. Also today, I will give you a little bit of overview of just what sections of the course are available to you on the website through Moodle. At any time, if you have questions, you can email me. The email should be available through your course shell on Moodle. You also can contact me through either this Ask Isaac form right here. This is just a normal form. You can create a new topic that exists in order to have a question that everybody may benefit from seeing or having the answer to. Or, of course, you can join me on my office hours. I will be online through the chat interface on Moodle from 11 to noon, Tuesdays and Thursdays, most days. Some days, if I haven't heard anything from anybody, I may be doing something else. But if you need to have a chat time with me, you may always request it. My schedule is reasonably flexible, so I can fit in other times if there are better times for you. I will also respond to emails at any time, of course, and you can ask me questions in the other forum that we can post in as well. If you have not taken a look at it, please click on and download the course syllabus. This gives you basic information, including how to reach me. You can call or text me. Please text me before you make a phone call to let me know who you are. Like everybody else, I get plenty of calls that are from robocalls or that sort of thing. So I don't answer the phone if I don't recognize the number first. So please text me first if you're a student and you need to reach me. Also, please try to only call or text me if it is important and it needs to be an answer you get right away, as opposed to waiting for me to check email. I do check email fairly regularly. This gives you a basic idea of what the course is about, including that we will help you understand not just rhetorical strategies of writing, but specifically how to apply this in a workplace environment, in a business environment. Here is an overview of the various course assignments. There will be course readings, reflection forums. I expect you to write an initial post for the reflection forums by Wednesday at midnight of each week, and give replies by the end of it says Friday in the syllabus. Sunday is fine. Let me actually change that while you're looking at it so you know that I mean it. Sunday is fine. I will try to respond to the reply post with my own post before the initial posts are due for the week following. So, and also you'll have some practice activities, reading quizzes, and then this is the course assignments and that sort of thing. Be aware that there will be a partner project, and so you should, when you're talking to other people, consider who you may want to partner up with in this course. If there's not an even number of students making it through the course, of course, a group of 3 is available. Also, here's the course schedule. Week by week, they'll tell you what the overall readings are, what is expected for you to have submitted, due dates, points, how much time is expected for you to be able to take on this. If you happen to be a little bit faster, great. If you're not, budget in the extra time. Don't forget that there are readings also online from Purdue Online Writing Lab, also a site known as WikiHow to help give you some basics. And also understand the basic expectations. I expect you to learn and use the MLA format that's on the Purdue Online Writing Lab. Late work will be accepted if you contact me If it's just late, I will have points taken off. But if you contact me and tell me what your circumstances are, I am flexible. I will be willing to work with it. Do not plagiarize. A plagiarize, if I can prove that it's been plagiarized, that is worth 0 points. And which, even though this isn't a math class, 0 is always worth less than you would get if you just handed in something. And also be professional. And you understand, most of you are doing this either after you've already been in school or you're coming to school later in life. So you understand that participation is really important. Budget the time and take this seriously. And of course, there are a bunch of other policies if you can have questions about them. And if you have any specific questions, you may ask me, or of course, you can email people in charge of Baker's enrollment and that sort of thing. So I mentioned that I'll be using the Purdue Online Writing Lab. Here's the website if you're not used to it. We will be mostly using MLA rules, so click on the MLA guide and check out some of these things. There'll be introductions to things. There'll be style and workshop, that sort of thing. Understand what the MOA format is. Even if you are not going in the long run going to be using MOA format, it's just a set of rules to help we see what you're doing and how it works. And so there's all kinds of reasons to pay attention to MOA style that will let you figure out where things go and what and how it should look. But they're just a set of rules. Understand the set of rules and understand that no matter what your citation style is, it will fit within the set of rules. That'll help you no matter what your format is. So, and these are specific pages that will show you how that works. For example, here's the page for creating a works cited list and what is going to be needed in order of importance, that sort of thing. This is what in-text citations look like, what a works cited page looks like. And if you have specific questions, for example, if you want to cite an electronic work, he'll give you examples of what works here. For example, an article in a web magazine, that sort of thing comes through here. I will give you some readings from Purdue Online Writing Lab about general writing tips, including how to write essays and thesis sentences and things like that as well. So consider this your writing handbook. Also, make sure you check through all these things. The presentation about academic integrity, search tips for using Baker Library. This is also format and basics as well as templates. If you use Office 2016, that's a template. Of course, it's the link to Purdue Online Writing Lab if you don't have it bookmarked yourself. So each week you'll see I will have various things. Usually it'll be a content interview as well as the video interview. There'll be some extra resources, extra readings or examples, or sometimes something for fun under instruction to help you understand what's being asked better. There'll be applications, which will include the reflection forum. And reflection forum is going to be a fairly regular way for me to check in that you are considering these ideas outside of just what's in the text. And there'll always be a prompt. This one gives you the overall rules and what I'm looking for. But they also consider the prompts that you should be following. So this prompt is, what are the ways you can communicate at work? What are your expectations of that communication? So what I'm looking at is, what do you already understand about business communication? What do you think the rules should be, and what do you think works best? That sort of thing. Feel free to be discursive. Feel free to ramble a bit. This is your chance to work out these ideas in text and stuff. And so there's no really right or wrong answer. My grading is basically involved in how thoughtful I think you're being. So if you just write to 200 words, but all you say is, oh, I think it's important for because people need to know how to communicate, that's not a very thoughtful response. So the post will not be worth very much. if your thoughtfulness is, I find it much easier to send an email than rather have a meeting with everybody most of the time. But sometimes one-on-one or two-on-one face-to-face meetings work best for these reasons. That is the kind of response I want. I want you to think about it, respond to it thoughtfully. And when you respond to other people, don't say, I think this was interesting or I agree with you. Again, think more deeply, give more varied responses about why you think something is useful. So this first week's readings are going to be from 3 chapters. It's going to be chapter 1. This is going to be an overall discussion of why you should be communicating, what your purpose of communication is. So look through this, understand these basics, and these basics can apply to everything even outside of a workplace environment. What are you trying to do when you write? That is the most important thing. Am I trying to inform somebody? Am I trying to educate somebody? I'm trying to get somebody to do something. These are the purposes that will shape how you compose, what your tones you use, what genres you choose for writing. So always consider what it is you're trying to accomplish and what is the best way to do that. Second thing to think about is who are you writing for? Are you writing for a colleague who is on your level and both of you have a fairly dark sense of humor and so you can make a joke or two? Or is it for a boss who you might be able to joke around with, but you know that this is something that may have to be used as an example of, yes, we are working on this and passed on to other people? Or is it a simple text? Or is it a formal report that's going to go out to people outside the business? Always consider these things. Always consider who's going to be reading it and what is the proper way to address them. The most think about the ways that you respond to things when people aren't expecting to see it. Like if you see some of those joke texts online, or you see somebody post something on a social media outlet that they weren't expecting everybody to talk about. Think about those things and how can you best present yourself using your words. Always understand what kind of level of communication is, where it's going. Upward, which is to people above you in the chain of command. Lateral, people who are at the same level. Downward to employees or people you supervise. Outward for people outside the company. What does that mean? What are the expectations not only of yourself but of your company for that sort of thing? For example, some companies are very casual with their customers, and that's okay if you have a casual approach to them. Some companies want to be very formal and precise so that there's no misunderstanding. And always understand that every communication you do, especially if it's electronic in any format, can be used in a different way than you thought. So always consider what is the large audience going to say. And so they give you several examples of what these kinds of communications can look like. Another thing to consider is the tone. I've been referring to that already. How formal do you need to be? How casual can you be? Um, what can make things sound more or less casual? These will give you very good examples of that. So I want you to pay close attention to these areas. Is this too casual? Is this too harsh? Is this too dry? All of those things deeply affect how people respond to your posts. So that is that area, the first chapter. And the second chapter, of course, is more related to the assignment itself. So it gives you examples of memos, emails, text messages, business letters. We will focusing mostly on email, but remember that memos and emails are very similar in what their purposes are. So familiarize yourself with what a memo is and how it looks, and then consider the email and what its format is. One of the things to think about email is this something that can be solved with a brief conversation, a phone call, or a text, and do I have to go to email to make it more formal? If I'm going to email, who needs to be on that email? These are the kinds of things I'm talking about when I refer to audience. And again, there are many more examples of structures and how do you compose these things. So look closely at these. And then, of course, in the modern environment, you need to consider texts, and you also need to consider other forms of social media that you may have to discuss. And also, there's the business letter, which is external communication. This also may be in the form of an email. And finally, I give you an example from Appendix A. 10 strategies to improve your style. And these are just writing pieces of writing advice that you'll want to keep referring to. For example, understand what an active sentence is as opposed to a passive sentence and why active sentences are better. The best way to think about it, a key idea I like is if you can append the phrase by zombies and it makes sense, then it's wrong. So Dr. Polanski interviewed the patient by zombies. Doesn't make sense. It's active. The patient was interviewed by Dr. Polanski and also by zombies. It's passive. Something is acting, but there is no active, but the subject of the sentence is not being active. This is not always the case. Always understand your specific style that is being expected of you, but active is usually better. And these are other kinds of examples of those kinds of pieces of advice. For example, long sentences may not always be the best way to get information across. Always understand that length is not the same thing as being intelligent. Okay, so this week the only readings are from the book. There will be in future weeks you'll have readings also from Purdue Online Writing Lab or also for WikiHow. The only book you do have to purchase though is this Vital Source book. So one way to help you navigate the book and understand what to focus on is every week we'll come with a quiz. And the quiz has specific questions drawn from the text. So all these answers can be found in the text. I don't always, sometimes I will and sometimes I won't tell you which chapters they are. Since this reading is so short for the first week, I did not tell you. But consider that the first few questions are probably going to be from the first chapter and so on and so forth. But use this, have this next to you while you're reading, so when you come across the answer in your reading, you can write it down right away. I prefer you to try to put in your own words, but if you just cut and paste from the original text because you're all busy, that's fine too. Just make sure you're paying attention to these concepts because these are important ideas that I'm highlighting specifically because they'll help you for the rest of the week. So that is the reading quiz here. In general, you'll find the reading quiz near the instruction level. For this week, it's a slightly different organization. So the assignment for this week, after we get through this, by the way, notice the class introductions forum. This is not for a grade. This is just so we get to know each other. And I've already written a long introduction for myself. You don't have to be quite as long. It's just to help us know who the other people are. And of course, this is the content interview of the week. So you can see what I'm expecting for you, what you need to be read. Quite often, if there are online texts to read, I will link them here, that sort of thing. So always understand that. This is another reading that helps you get a better sense of emails and what they work. This is just help illustrate. This is not to replace the reading in the book. This is to help expand on it. Don't forget your reflection forum. And then the reading assignment quiz, and then the email pre-writing. So these are the questions you will want to ask in the pre-writing. So this is the point of this is to help you build up your get ready to write your email and go through the preliminary work. Pre-writing is, you should consider it like stretching or doing a shoot around or whatever before playing a sports game. The reason you see people go out there and work out before they play isn't because that's exciting to watch or that's interesting to do. It's because it helps them get ready to actually do the thing that they're preparing to do. It can feel like it's extra time. It can feel like it's busy work. But what it does is it means that when it's time for you to actually do the assignment, you're prepared. You've already done all this preliminary work, so you don't have to sit there and ask yourself what it is that you're going to do. You've already prepared. So answer these questions. Don't just give short answers. Try to give, it doesn't always have to be a long sentence, but it does have to be enough that you can use it to build on, and I can look at it and feel like that you have a direction in mind. So 2 sentences each is what I'm asking you here. I'm not super strict about that. I just want to make certain that I can see that you are thinking through these questions and having these answers. And of course, the business email, and there are examples in the book examples in the additional reading, and then here's yet another example of how this can look. You do not have to put it into this format that you see here with this fake Outlook email page. It can just be text written on a Word document, but understand what the overall format is. And if you have other questions, there of course is the assignment sheet that you can open and take a better look at. So not only does this show you what the pre-writing is, it will show you what the email is, what your specific instructions for it are, that sort of thing. And you'll upload the pre-writing in one area because you get graded on that, and then the email in another. And if you have any questions about the email rubric, here it is right here. What the points are and that sort of thing. The rubrics will be used to help guide you through your reading throughout. Always get a look at the rubric before you start writing so you have a sense of what it is I'm looking at. All right, so that is the basic overview of the first week. Each week will have different overviews. They will not be as long as this because I will not have to go through as much introductory material. And if you have specific things you want to be focused on in future rubrics, you can also put that into either the Ask Isaac forum or into your specific response for this week. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you this semester.